Okay. Um, just trying to shoot. Is this going to be high enough? Okay, I think that should be hopefully a little better right there. All right, just out shooting some photos. They all sucked. It's gray, cold. There's no foliage on the trees. It's not something to. It's not good photo taking right now. So, anyways, this is gonna be 3 videos jammed into one. Quick recap on the Q2. I'm ending my week with that. I'm gonna return it. Probably drop it in the mail today or early tomorrow morning. I want to talk about some travel kit stuff that I'm going through, and then also the Fuji card error issue is back. And they all kind of tie together. So first and foremost, the Leica Q2, this bad boy right here. My thoughts on it in conclusion, and I guess I'm still kind of confused. The reason why I rented this is because I was thinking about what would it be like to go on vacation, like an X100V, and only shoot this camera right here. What would that be like? And the short story is, I think it'd be really, really awesome, to be honest with you. I love the premium build. I love the fact that I have a 1.7 lens. 28mm is very versatile. You have enough megapixels to crop if you want it to be. It just feels good. It feels premium. And from that perspective, I love it. I'd hope the video would be a little better. I personally would not use it for video. I think it's pretty bad. Your iPhone or your GoPro might just be a better way to go because of stabilization and autofocus and other things. But I really, really enjoyed the camera, actually. And my only thought with trying to use this as like my travel camera is that I know there's going to be photos that require more than 28mm. When you, like in your house and around in an area like this, 28's awesome. When you get out in the middle of the Caribbean, like I'm going to be next month, 28's probably a little wide. And so you have to be really on top of things. And so I'm a little concerned about that. Now, last year I was in Punta Mita, Mexico, and I had brought with me my Nikon Z6 II, a 28 f2.8 and a 40 f2. And when I had those two lenses, they're both pancakes. I wanted to be small. I got by with most, 28 being one of them, and I really enjoyed it. 28 and 40 were great. But there were some shots where I wish I had like a 85 or 135mm because there was this beautiful landscape, and at 28 it was just too wide. It just felt kind of flat. Whereas if I had the ability to like telephoto my way in, then I would have been able to kind of create a more compelling image. I even tried taking the 40mm and putting it in APS-C crop mode to get like 60mm, and it still was a bit short. I just didn't like the images that came out of it. It seemed kind of crappy. So that's my concern with this being my only camera. And so what I feel like is if I were to take this, I would have to bring a second camera with me in the case that this happened. So the Fuji with a telephoto, or if I use the Leica M with a longer M glass, like a 90mm or whatever, I'd have to bring that. And I think from that perspective, I don't think I could make this my only camera for those types of trips. I would miss something. And that's kind of the point. I think if you make this your only camera, which it is possible, you're going to have to be comfortable with knowing that this is what you're getting, right? And so there's instances where you have kids that are playing sports or longer telephoto needs. You're just going to have to be comfortable not shooting 28 or not shooting only anything but 28mm to do that. The crop modes, no matter which way you put it, 28mm, it doesn't matter. Yes, there's enough megapixels to crop, but just shoot 28, then crop it then. The frame lines in this thing are simply just guidelines. They don't do anything. I think some other cameras, maybe even the Fuji X100V, when you put the digital teleconverter function on, it does like a downsampling. And so you actually get some kind of like image quality improvement or interpolation, if you will, on that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. But yeah, speaking of comment section below, my video yesterday fired some people up. There were some definite flaws in it. But nonetheless, the bottom line of that test yesterday was that, yes, the lens is not optically perfect. They planned for software corrections in the camera, and you wouldn't notice it really unless you brought the images in to Lightroom or whatever without the corrections applied. And for what this lens is, the micro contrast, the sharpness, and having the 1.7, I'm plenty okay with it. I think it's great. The question I leave myself after all this is for $6,000, are you okay with that? That's the pill I don't think I'm going to swallow. I think I'm going to be returning this, and I'll dwell on it more, but I don't think I'll be picking this up. But what's got me interested is I strive for a life of simplicity. I'm tying this together to what I'm about to show you in a second. And how awesome would it be to only shoot this and like learn this focal length and do this and have a really, really good image sensor and lens, and great output, and a very premium body that's weather sealed in your hands. And that's, when you view it from that lens, it's kind of compelling. I'm kind of talking in circles, and that's why, because it's you have to be willing to give up a lot, but you can get a lot in doing that. So if you think about this camera in kind of the view that it's a specialty or a second camera, it really makes me interested in the monochrome, because having the color array filter removed, you get the higher ISO performance, you get a lot more sharpness and tonality. And I've seen some images off of monochrome sensors, and I think they're fantastic. I personally love black and white. My wife loves color, so that'd be a point of contention for sure. I'd almost want to have this if I had the money, or I have it, but if I wanted to spend the money, as like a monochrome option just sitting on the side. That to me is interesting. The third piece that makes this thing difficult is the fact that the Q3 is rumored to be coming out this year. And from what the rumors are is that the only change really is going to be from this 47 megapixel sensor to the 60 megapixel sensor. And if that's the case, oh, maybe USB charging. If that's the case, I don't care about the sensor upgrade. Not at all. I do care about the USB-C charging upgrade though, because that's the other point of this. You got to bring the big charging brick, and that's annoying. When you get to cameras that have USB-C charging, that's super sweet, especially for travel. So long story short, it's actually a fantastic camera. It's really good. There are some compromises you got to be aware of and think about. But if you're okay with 28 millimeters, or you want to really reduce what you're doing to just one focal length, this is awesome. It's got macro, it's autofocus, great lens, great sensor, premium build, weather sealed. The EVF is nice. The shape is great. I like it. I just don't know. I don't think I'll be buying this for $6,000 because it would be requiring me to dump my M camera. And so that's my thoughts. That's part one. Part two is my travel mental gymnastics I'm going through right now. And that's why I picked this up. That's how this connects. So let me walk you guys through a scenario real quick and see what you guys would do and what you think. Last year in Punta Mina, like I mentioned, 28 and 40 did 90% what I needed to do. But there was definitely an amazing photo. It was this pile of rocks out in the ocean being splashed by waves, crashing up against it. The sun was setting behind it every single night. It was gorgeous. And if I had a longer lens, I could have had an absolute stellar shot. Maybe even a tripod too. That's another piece of it. And I didn't. And I've been kicking myself ever since. But the problem is, I'm on vacation with my wife. This is a work party type trip where I won something through work. So you got coworkers and you got your wife, and you don't want to be lugging around this backpack of crap. Hence why I was looking at the Leica Q2. So I got some couple options for you guys, and I want to see what you guys think. Option one is the Leica M kit. And here's kind of my prerequisites. When I'm traveling, I don't plan to bring my laptop. I plan to bring my iPad Air with the M1 chip in it. This thing's awesome. I got a little keyboard case on it. I can work off of this, and I plug in USB-C connections to offload SD cards. I have a little brick. I don't have it with me, and I also have this little SanDisk USB-C flash drive here, where I can back up files off of this so I don't get full. This little guy is 128 gigabytes, which is pretty good. And so, in order for me to travel with this in just a sling, I can fit it in this Moment 6-liter bag. There's a little slot right here where the iPad fits in. Show you, it goes like this. It's a little snug, but it does fit just like this. And that's perfect. And so for me to travel, I want to fit everything into this. Now inside the little pouch up here, you can put chargers, you can put whatever. You can fit in the front here my wireless mics if I'm going to do any videos. Again, I don't plan to, but if I get the moment to sit down and record a video, I want the option. These are very easy to bring along with you. They also charge on USB-C, which is great, which is part of the problem. And inside here, this little bag, I can easily fit my Leica M10. This has got the little 21 millimeter Voigtlander on it, so that could go in here just like this. And then I can put my 50 millimeter Summicron in here as well, right next to it. I could put my 35mm f2, which I might replace this thing in here. And look, I got tons of room still, tons of room. So I could throw a Leica battery in here. And I just got, this little M kit is super, super tiny. Now the alternative is the Fuji kit. And I'm recording on it right now. But the Fuji with the 16 1.4, a 23 f2 right here, this bad boy, and the 56 1.4 Sigma lens, they also fit into this a little bit more snug, and I can kind of throw in the 27 f2.8 if I just want to like leave everything back and it's plenty of light and I want a pancake option. I love this lens. It's super sharp. It's nice. This is the new one, the WR version. And I can also fit that all in here, albeit it takes up more room. And I can fit the chargers and everything. So on the Fuji, it gives me 16, which is 24, 23, which is a 35, and 56, which is like an 85, 80 something millimeter option. And that's a really good reach. On the Leica, it's 21, 35, and 50, which is not as much reach. And so, you know, that's what I'm kind of thinking, but the Leica kit is smaller, and it's a different experience to shoot it. The Fuji has IBIS, video recording capability, autofocus, you know, whatever, all the different things, 2 card slots, whatever, mic input, all those different things. And I you know, I don't want to be carrying a lot around. Ultimately, if I had my way, I would bring everything just in this little 3-liter sling, because when I'm doing my tours, if we're doing a Jeep tour, a rum tour, or screwing around, I don't want to be burdened with too much. I just want this. And for that, I could just do the 21 on the Leica M10 and the 50 in here, and it fits absolutely no problem whatsoever. It's super simple to put in there. It's easy. I could also even buy the 35mm f2.5 scope bar, color scope bar from Voigtlander, which is a tiny little pancake lens, and throw that in to get 21, 35, and 50 again. And I'm really tempted to do that because this is just really easy to do. You can throw an extra battery and everything in here. But then I have to bring the charger block for the M10. Whereas the Fuji charges off USB-C. And so do the microphones. And so does my iPad. So, you know, if you're thinking about that way, it makes sense to bring the Fuji, the iPad with the charger for the microphones. Like, all that makes a lot of sense to do it that way. But then it leaves the problem of getting back down to just the 3-liter sling. And maybe I just take the 23 and maybe I get a 50 f2, or maybe a 23 and just the 56 1.4. I feel like the 56 won't be used as much. And if that's the case, why not throw the 55 to 200 in there as the long telephoto option and shoot everything else with the 23 f2? Just glue the 23 f2 to the front of the camera and then bring the 55 to 200. I'm starting to think that way. So what would you guys do if you had these lenses available? M10 with a 21, 35, and a 50. A Fuji with a 16, 23, 27, 56, and a 55 to 200. And a 30 1.4. What would you guys do? Yeah. Last but not least, speaking of Fuji, I've switched over from the Lexar cards to the ProGrade cards. I had the issue again. Here's a picture, a screenshot. This popped up. I don't know. At this point, is it because I'm shooting a lossless compressed? Maybe I should try uncompressed. I don't know. I called Fuji. I'd have to send it out for service. Would I get it back in time? Maybe it's the camera. Maybe it's a faulty camera. I upgraded the firmware, so it's not that. I don't know. Frustrating, but we'll get it fixed. They'll take care of me. All right, guys, thanks. Leica Q2, final thoughts. My ramblings around travel kit, kind of mental gymnastics. And I hope that was confusing, because it's confusing here too. And then also, I'm just still perplexed by this card issue on this XT5. All right, thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one.